Who's actually going to get the most out of a Jackery 1500 solar generator? Who should walk away? And does the price make sense for someone who just wants backup power for a weekend camping trip? That's the question most people ask before dropping a few $100s on a portable power station. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first saw the Jackery Solar Generator 1500 Ultra, I was skeptical. The headline numbers 1500 Wh battery, 1800 WAC output, a 200 W bifacial solar panel look impressive, but the real test is how those specs translate to everyday scenarios. Most buyers I've talked to worry about three things. Will the unit keep their essential devices running during an outage? Can they actually recharge it in the field without a generator? And will it sit in a garage gathering dust because it's too heavy or too pricey for occasional use? Those concerns are legitimate, especially when the market is flooded with smaller, cheaper power banks that claim solar-ready but never deliver enough juice for anything beyond a phone. Let's step back and look at the category. Portable solar generators are essentially a hybrid between a large capacity battery and a solar charge controller. They're built for people who need off-grid power for a few hours to a few days: campers, RV owners, tiny home dwellers, and homeowners in areas prone to blackouts. The Jackery 1500 sits near the top of the range, a 1536 Wh lithium iron phosphate, Bifacial, pack, an 1800 W pure sine wave inverter, and a 200 W bifacial solar panel that can catch sunlight from both sides. In practice, that means you can run a small refrigerator, a couple of laptops, and a few lights simultaneously, then top off the battery with a half-day of sun. Who should buy it? If you spend any decent amount of time outdoors and rely on electronic gear, think photographers running cameras, drones, and laptops for a full day of shooting. Or a family that lives in an RV and wants to keep the air conditioner and water pump running without plugging into a campsite. This unit is a solid match. It also makes sense for homeowners in storm-prone regions where a prolonged outage could leave you without power for a day or two. The 10-year lifespan claim on the Bifacial cells is a real advantage here. You're not swapping out batteries every few years like with lead-acid alternatives. The Anywhere, Any Condition badge isn't just marketing fluff. Jackery designed the enclosure to survive drops and temperature swings, so you can leave it in a car trunk in winter or set it on a shaded patio in summer without worrying about premature failure. Who should skip it? If your power needs are limited to occasional phone charging, a couple of LED lights, and maybe a Bluetooth speaker, you're probably overpaying. A smaller 500 Wh model or even a high-capacity power bank would cover those basics for a fraction of the price and weight. Also, if you're looking for a truly hands-free, set-and-forget solar solution, you'll find the 200 W panel a bit underpowered. The panel can charge the battery at roughly 15% per hour under optimal sun, so getting a full charge from zero would take around 67 hours of direct sunlight. For a family that wants to run a TV and a full-size fridge continuously, you'd need to add another panel or two, which adds cost and bulk. Now let's talk strengths in a practical way. The first thing I noticed during a 2-day camping test was the multi-way charging flexibility. Jackery lets you plug in solar, a wall outlet, or a car cigarette lighter at the same time, and the internal controller intelligently balances the inputs. In a real-world scenario, that meant I could start the generator on a campsite's 120V outlet, then later hook up the solar panel when the sun came up, and finally top off the battery while driving back to the trailhead using the car's 12V port. The transition was seamless: no reboot, no drop in output, and the AC outlet stayed stable enough to keep my laptop charging while the inverter switched between sources. The industrial-grade design also shows up when you need to run something that draws a surge, like a portable air conditioner. The 1800 W inverter can handle startup spikes up to 3600 W for a few seconds, which is exactly what the AC unit needs. During my test, the air conditioner kicked on without tripping the unit, and the battery held steady for about an hour before I had to switch the panel on to keep the charge from dropping too low. That kind of real-world surge tolerance isn't something you see in cheaper units that claim 1800 W but actually have a much lower peak rating. On the downside, the generator's size and weight are the most noticeable trade-offs. At roughly 40 pounds, it's not something you can toss into a backpack. You'll need a sturdy cart or a roof rack system to move it around, which adds a layer of logistics you have to plan for. The 200W solar panel, while efficient with its bifacial cells, is also on the smaller side for a 1500 Wh battery. If you're aiming to be completely off-grid for a full